Hello, Internet. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
The University of Utah has an upcoming game against Cal, and they know if Cam Rising's ready. What do we think?
In Major League Baseball, the Division Series is wrapping up. Let's see who made it to the League Championship Series.
And the Utah Jazz have played some preseason games. What do we think so far?
All that and more. My name is Darren, that is AJ, and this is the DNA Sports Recap.
Roll the intro.
We skipped the pre-show cheers there, so let's go ahead and
Pre-show cheers.
cheers to you.
Post intro pre-show cheers.
That's right.
Cheers to you, my friends.
How's it going, AJ?
I'm doing good, buddy. Really good. How are you?
I'm living the dream, man. Happy to be back here.
Oh yeah, always.
This is great. So let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Let's start with the University of Utah, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the University of Utah ranked 16th, by the way, which is up from 18.
Yeah, gain 2 spots without playing a game. That's what I'm talking about.
Always got to like that, right? They are 4-1. They're taking on the Cal Golden Bears. Another a great,
Terrible name.
Geez.
Just absolutely terrible.
Anyway, they are 3-3. So we got the Utes favored by 13.5 on this one here. And we got the over-under line at 45. Now, we'll get to what we think on that here in a minute. But let's go ahead and first talk about the Bears here. What's your take? What's your first impressions on the Bears?
This is going to be kind of a strength versus strength game scenario. Cal has the number 11 rushing offense in the country, and Utah has the number 3 ranked rushing defense in the country. So with those two things being said, this one could be kind of a slugfest, and then obviously depending on what the Utah offense ends up doing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's definitely something we need to be concerned about. They are averaging 33 points per game so far this season. That's actually dropped down to 16 points per game in conference for the Cal Bears there. So,
okay,
that's basically what they're used to seeing there.
I like the odds on this for the Utah defense, obviously, to keep this Cal team under control. Cal's on like their third string quarterback right now. They've had some pretty big injuries coming through the season. We know that pain as Utes fans. There's some things that they're still trying to work out. They're going to be handing the rock off a lot, trying to get yards on the ground. I like Utah's odds just because they are very physical up front. They're looking for you to try to overpower them, and most teams haven't been super successful. The Utes only allow 282 yards per game. Mm-hmm. That's actually the 5th lowest in college football.
Really?
So yeah, the defense has obviously been very stout. Any Utah fan knows that. So I would say advantage Utah there. The Cal defense isn't fantastic. They're 78th ranked in the nation. They allow 381 yards per game. So if we can get any kind of offense going, this could be a good kind of game to get moving for Utah.
I agree. I think it's going to be really kind of up to the whose strength really shows up this week, and really what the offense is going to do. Honestly, Cam, no Cam, Nate Johnson, this is his, 3rd start in conference play?
Yep.
So you do need to see some improvement at this point.
Yeah, and I think, the article came out from Eric Walden in the Salt Lake Tribune that the Utes know Cam's Rising status for the weekend. They know if he's playing already.
Right.
Hopefully that helps, because if they know that Cam's not playing, hopefully Nate's getting all of those first string starts, all of those reps in practice. If that's the case, hopefully he can build some rhythm with the offense and get things moving and show some improvement this week.
Absolutely. We'll get to Cam here in a minute. So when it comes to that, I really think the key thing that stands out to me for Nate Johnson in regards to his play so far, the key stat for me is that he still hasn't thrown an interception.
That's kind of crazy.
So something tells me there that, some of the elite quarterbacks in this league have thrown interceptions already, yet Nate Johnson hasn't. I know he was 8 for 33 in passing last game or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, but some of those aren't his fault though. He's had quite a few drop passes where, you've got to have receivers help him out.
Exactly.
If you're getting it even close to him, you guys are Division I college football receivers, right? Like, you've got to be coming down with to help your quarterback out, help him build some confidence in those situations.
That's exactly my point. I think because of the fact that we haven't seen him throw a pick, which means they're playing it very conservatively for him, that all the passing plays are not open to him, and he's not really getting given a chance to really open it up and see what he can do.
Yeah, no, I
that's
totally
a key
agree.
stat towards that. And hopefully, if this is the case, if Nate Johnson is starting again this week, that we do see some improvement on that, and we do see a little bit more confident play from him this week.
Yeah, I mean, and I'd even like to see some Bryson Barnes confidence like they showed in that first game against Florida. Like first play out the game, run some play action and just throw the ball down the field. Just let them know you're not scared. Even just attempt it. You know what I mean? Like Nate Johnson's obviously thrown a ton of those balls over his football career. He can get one up there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he can get one out there and give him a shot, and that would just give him the confidence to keep rolling and just get some momentum into this offense. That's just crazy.
No, I agree. We'll see who shows up. We'll see what the Utah offense does, and we'll see which strength wins out on this one. So let's go ahead and talk about the Utes favored by 13.5. Do you think they win by that much?
No, I don't.
I don't think so either.
I could see this being, if the offense can generate some points, I think the defense has a great chance at really limiting this Cal Bears offense. I think it's going to be very much a slugfest like the last ones we've kind of seen. I could see a 14-7 score, a 21-7 score, or even a 21-14 score. I don't know if the Utes cover on this one.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. I do think that they do win. I'm not necessarily sure they're going to cover that spread. I do think that it is going to be a low-scoring game. So under the over-under line on 45, I'm definitely taking the under on this one this week.
Unless Cam Rising's back.
Which is fair.
Yes.
Which is fair. Yeah. Cam Rising's back. That does change some things there. But, yeah, so operating on what we know for right now.
Yep, which is Nate Johnson.
But let's go ahead and pivot over to that. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Cam. So now a few of you guys commented on our last video after, obviously because we film these and then we edit them and post them later, some news does come out after we film, and we try to make sure that we state as of the time of recording as much as we can, but sometimes it still doesn't happen.
Right.
But in this case, since after post-recording, there has been a lot of information that came out about Cam's injury when it comes to what happened to him. So Cam Rising did disclose there wasn't merely just an ACL tear. It has been reported there was also recovering from repairs to his meniscus and the medial collateral ligament, which is the MCL as well as the medial, basically the MPFL, because I'm not even going to try that. So that's basically another ligament, basically. So,
in other words, there's all kinds of stuff jacked up in there.
Everything that's basically holding that kneecap together is basically what you had to have some type of work done on.
Repair, yeah.
So that 8 to 10 month timeline that is given for a typical ACL tear, that kind of gives you an idea of what we're actually looking at there.
Right.
So us Ute fans that were thinking that he was going to be available first week, second week, or when we started Pac-12 play, now we all kind of realize, okay, the injury was a little bit more severe than we thought. What's your take on the extent of the injury that he received?
Once you find out the information that Cam had, multiple things that needed to be worked on inside that knee, it kind of gives you the idea that obviously he may not be nearly as close as we'd all hoped that he was going to be.
What I think is funny, though, is that there is a little bit of information there that came out that, at least we know. It was an article up on the Trib and also on KSL. They mentioned that while we don't know if Cam's ready to start or not, the team does know.
Yeah.
They did get an update from the medical staff on Monday. They know whether or not Cam is ready to go. And he was asked about that in his press conference, and he said yes. And here's a direct quote from Whittingham on that. If anybody can give me a reason why it would help us win more by announcing it, then I'll tell you everything. But I can't think of one thing. So
I love the brutal honesty from Kyle Whittingham there.
Yeah, you gotta like it, man. You gotta appreciate that. It's just unless I have a reason to tell you all what we're planning on doing, I don't see a benefit to doing that.
Yeah, just because we know doesn't mean I need to tell you.
Exactly. Fair enough. So as far as that goes, what's your take? Do you think he starts this weekend or not?
I think so.
Okay.
I think this is the weekend. I'm an optimistic Utes fan, man. I think this is the week. I think the bye week, and he's had plenty of time. I mean, I just think it's time, man. I think if there was an actual target date, this would probably have been the actual date. You know what I mean? With the meat of the Pac-12 schedule coming up, you knew you had a bye week to give you one extra games break. I think this is probably the week that they're actually probably shooting for. I think you try to get him out there and do everything that he can. And if that's the case, then yeah, I mean, if he's ready to go and we can get him out there, you'd love to give him a nice kind of pre-warm-up game. And even if he doesn't take every rep in the game, but be able to get out there and, be ready to go against Washington in a couple of weeks.
I'm torn on it, man. I think either he starts or they bring him in for a couple runs once the game's either out of hand and see what he can do. I think you're more likely to bring him in as a starter and then pull him after like a quarter or two.
Yeah.
I
think so, because I think if Cam goes out there, I think he's going to be 100% ready and able to play the whole game. Right. Like they're not going to let him out there and say, your conditioning might be right. Because if his conditioning's not right, I don't think they're going to put him on the field.
Right.
So I think he's going to have to be 100% ready to go out there on the field. Once he gets there, I think Cam could make this game out of hand very quickly. I mean, I think the Utes could go up 21-28, in a few ensuing possessions. And we know the Utes defense is going to hold. And I think as long as you're a couple scores away, I don't even know if you try to get Cam out of there. I think you just kind of let him get a rhythm, let him keep throwing to the receivers. And it's almost probably to show national media, like, this is the Utah offense that you guys remember from last year, right? Like,
I think that's why they went up 2 spots. I think the likelihood of them possibly Cam being back is probably what pushed them from 18 to 16. All right, perfect. Well, you got anything else on the University of Utah?
Nope, that was what I have, man. I mean, it's going to be a good game. I look forward to it. So
we want to know what you think, folks. Please feel free to leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think in regards to, first of all, the over-under, the line there. Do you think the Utes win by 13.5? Do you think the score is going to be higher than 44 or 45? What was it? Yeah, 45. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. Do you think Cam Rising starts? We want to know what you think, folks. Let us know in the comments down below.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Major League Baseball. First, we'll definitely get into the playoffs here in a moment. Let's go ahead and quickly discuss some recent news that just came out. They have announced that the relocation committee will be meeting in November to discuss the proposal of the A's moving to Las Vegas.
That's crazy.
It's really funny though, because at that point, a recent report has come out from the current owner of the Golden State Warriors, has also expressed interest in buying the A's as well, which is kind of convenient because he just purchased a WNBA team that he's going to put in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And, already owning the Golden State Warriors, now talking about potentially purchasing the Oakland A's.
He's going to own all of Oakland.
Yeah. So, I mean, you technically do need two to tango there. I think he mentioned in a statement there to CBS News that someone has to be willing to sell in order for him to be able to buy.
Kind of how that works.
Yeah. But it's technically not a done deal, folks, that the Oakland A's are moving out of Oakland just yet. The committee still has to approve it, and there's potential ownership in there in case current ownership wants to sell. So I don't know. What's your take on all that?
Nice. I mean, I think it's kind of a cool idea. Kind of like we talked about in a previous episode. When you saw some of those reverse boycotts and you saw how loyal that actual Oakland A's fan base is, I think there's definitely still a viable reason to keep the team in Oakland. And when you get some of that money, like from an owner that has obviously 2 professional sports teams, he could probably revamp that stadium and give that franchise a real chance to kind of get back into it.
Let's go ahead and shift on over to the playoffs, shall we?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about the American League first. So it looks like the Rangers have swept the Baltimore Orioles, which was the number 1 seeded team, which we're definitely going to need to talk about because I need to kind of clarify some stuff on that. So the Rangers swept 3-0 and took the first place seeded Baltimore out. They move on to the championship series. We also have the Astros that are currently leading the Minnesota Twins 2-1 in theirs. So at the time of recording, the Los Angeles Dodgers on the National League side are down 2-0 to the Arizona Diamondbacks, and Braves are down 1-2 in their division. So as it sits right now, what it looks like the division series is going to look like. Now, the Braves have a win, so there's a good chance that they could still come back.
Absolutely. Go Braves.
Yeah, so we do have a shot for the Braves to come back. But as it sits right now, pretty much if you were to ask me there how the championship series is going to shake out, you've got the Texas Rangers facing the Houston Astros in the American League Championship Series. And you've got, I would say, more than likely, the Philadelphia Phillies against the Arizona Diamondbacks is basically what I think is how the 2 championship series are going to play out. What do you think?
I'm always going to hope that the Braves make a comeback and we'll be facing Arizona. I mean, going down 2-1's not super crazy. Obviously, they just tied it up and had in a really tough game, in game 2.
Mm-hmm. Do you think the Braves can pull it out?
I do. I mean, man, I watched some of those Braves baseball games, dude, and they are such a talented team all over the place. We know they've got a ton of offense. Can they get a pitcher out there that can actually shut down that Phillies offense is really going to be the thing.
I definitely think you have a case there, simply because the fact that the Braves do probably have their best pitchers coming up. I do believe that they have best shot to turn that series around. They did lose 10-2 today, but that is kind of a whooping there. But I didn't know who started the game.
That is a whooping. I don't know who pitched for him, but that's pretty embarrassing.
But you got three, as far as the teams in the playoffs right now, you have the top three starting rotation, I think. So if there's a chance for you guys to pull it out and win 2 more games, you got the next 2 of your starters, your ace and your second line, which would be an ace for a lot of teams coming up. So definitely a shot there for sure. As it looks right now, the Dodgers are losing 4-0 in the bottom of the 5th. So my guess is the Dodgers are going to get swept out of the first round. Dodgers fans, let me know in the comments down below if your heart's bleeding like mine. This is the second year in a row the Dodgers have lost to a team to the second team in the division, which they've won at least 12 games more than in the regular season.
Well, I mean, it doesn't help when your ace pitcher just gets, torched for 6 runs in the first game. And then realistically, Arizona just kind of continues. The Dodgers had a rookie pitcher out in Bobby Miller in the second game. And the Diamondbacks just continued hitting. They put 3 runs on him in the first inning of game 2.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, man, as a Dodgers fan, you're just out there like, what else do we have? Bring out the bullpen.
That's the only strength the Dodgers have is the bullpen.
Right.
That's literally the only strength the Dodgers have in the playoffs. We do not have – you have Clayton Kershaw, who's playing hurt. I don't care what anybody else says. I don't even care what he says.
I don't care what he says.
He is hurt. When your average velocity is around 90, 91, and your fastball's topping out at 88 miles an hour in a start, you're hurt, man. He just came off the IL with a shoulder injury. I don't think he's playing at full speed. And that's literally the only starter. Bobby Miller, he shoved in the regular season, but this guy's a rookie, man. He started in Double-A.
And that is a really big game and platform to be on.
Yeah,
as a rookie, down 0-1. That's a ton of pressure, man.
It is a ton of pressure at home. I honestly wish they had Bobby Miller starting game 1, Clayton Kershaw game 2.
And that's kind of what I was saying. Is like you're going up against a team that Clayton Kershaw is one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. And these guys just torched him in the first game. And now you're like, well, I'm going to go out there and just do my best. I just think that's a tough stage for any rookie to be in.
It is. It very much is. And now we have Lance Lynn starting, who led all of Major Leagues in home runs given up this year, which is an trade deadline acquisition from the White Sox. So,
but he did okay right after the trade, right?
Yeah, for a few games.
For a few games, he was actually pitching pretty well.
Yeah.
And then it kind of...
The number one thing you need in postseason baseball is starting pitching. That is rule number 1. You need starting pitching.
Right.
And then you need to be able to play situational baseball. You need to be able to get somebody on, get them over, get them in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need in baseball. Yeah, if you do, slugging's important. Be able to hit bombs, hit doubles. That's all important. But you got to, number 1, you got to have starting pitching. Number 2, you got to be able to play situational baseball on the offensive end. All these different issues the Dodgers have had with their starting pitching. We literally have set the National League record for how many starting pitchers we've used this year. We've called up 4 different rookies to start in Major League Baseball games this year. So honestly, it just wasn't the Dodgers' year. The fact that they still won 100 games, still won their division by more than 10 games, if you ask me, all that is just talking about the division itself. The fact that the Dodgers were able to do that. But
having Mookie Betts on your teams is always going to help those kind of things.
He's having the worst playoff series of his career right now.
Oh, is he just playing terrible in the playoffs?
I
was saying for winning 100 games still.
Yeah. For the regular season, yeah. I mean, right now Mookie Betts isn't really doing much. So it looks like the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to be the ones moving on into the championship series. Sorry, I spent a lot of time on Dodgers talk there. I still hope for you guys in Atlanta that your Braves will be able to pull this one out and win 2 games in a row before you lose 1. The Phillies aren't known for their pitching; they're definitely known for their hitting. So I think you got a shot there for sure.
Did you see that game 2 in the Phillies and Braves ended with an 8-5-3 double play?
Yeah, this was great. This play was awesome.
Dude, such an awesome play. And just for the record, that was the first time in postseason history a double play has been initiated by an outfielder.
That is insane. I
Pretty
can't
cool.
believe he got to that ball too.
Dude, I mean, obviously Bryce Harper thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Because he was the one that got thrown out at first. So
yeah, I think risky move. Do you think that was a bad mistake on Bryce Harper's part there, or do you think it was just?
I think he thought what everybody else thought. You know what I mean?
There's no way he's getting that
There's
ball.
just no way he's getting that. But I mean, what's crazy is he caught the ball easily. It's not like he caught it sliding or anything. I mean, he was still on his feet, and that's why he could throw him out.
Yeah.
So I mean,
he caught the ball, bounced off the wall.
Yeah.
threw it over. Yeah.
I mean, I think it was just a gross misjudgment of where the ball was going to land. From Harper's angle, he just didn't think he could get to it.
Yeah. Crazy play. Crazy way to end the game, too.
Yeah. First time in postseason history.
Fantastic.
So
Great
pretty
job,
cool.
Braves. Yeah. Very, very cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on over to our next thing.
Okay.
Set change. All right. Let's go ahead and pivot over to a little bit about the NBA. So actually, let me ask you this first. Did you purchase your Utah Jazz Plus subscription?
I sure did.
Very nice.
Yes,
Very
sir.
nice.
And I actually just got the email today that they have the app available. So it's available to stream on your TV, over your iPad. It is available through AirPlay, so you can just stream it to your TV from your phone. So it's 100% accessible. I had some issues streaming through some of the apps, because you're supposed to be able to log into the NBA app and click into the stream and then select your carrier, which is Jazz Plus. And it wouldn't stream the games straight through that app yet. I don't know if it just wasn't set up when I was trying to do it. It was like the first game.
Okay.
But if you just go to jazzplus.com or utahjazzplus.com, you can just watch the game and flip it right over. So I'm excited to get the app on my TV, through Roku and be able to use it that way. So looking forward to it.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Again, folks, you got to purchase that before the 24th. Oh, did your shirt and hat show up yet? Or are they vouchers?
I believe they're vouchers that you'll get. I did get the link to order my tickets, but I got to jump on because a few of the games that I checked already were already sold out for those ticket vouchers.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, make sure you guys jump on quick because those tickets are moving quick.
They are moving quick. Again, the deadline is October 24th to purchase the prepay for the year and get the free 2 tickets, the shirt, and the hat.
Yep.
Which brings the price down quite a bit if you average in those values in there that we talked about on a previous episode. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the Jazz preseason so far. They are 1-1 so far. With a win in Hawaii and a loss in Seattle.
Yeah. I would love to see basketball back in Seattle for one.
Okay.
Did you see any of the pregame show where they had Detlef Shrimp there?
No kidding.
Yeah, Detlef Shrimp was at the Jazz game. I don't know, just kind of cool. Just a little bit nostalgic. You know what I mean? To see him there. And obviously Seattle was such a great basketball town.
What's your takeaway on how Utah's performed so far? Obviously 1 win, 1 loss.
The first thing that sticks out to me is 3 words. And that's turnovers, turnovers, and turnovers, because the Jazz have been turning the ball over like it's going out of style.
Yeah, over the 2 games, there's 18.5 turnovers on average over the 2 games. So
it's been horrific, dude.
It's not great.
It's been really rough to watch. Some of those do come with some of the second units, and you kind of expect that from some of these guys that haven't been on the floor a whole lot, right? But when you're out there and you're watching guys like Jordan Clarkson throw a bad entry pass into John Collins, it's just really frustrating. Jordan, you know better, dude. It's blatantly obvious that this team is still learning how to play together.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just where people are going to be, where they're expected to be. I don't think they're communicating really great yet, because I feel like there's times where there's 2 guys over in the corner and they're spaced 5 feet apart. You're like, one guy can guard both of you. What are you doing?
Right.
So just little stuff like that where I feel like the Jazz are still kind of definitely on the learning curve. I do think John Collins looks a little bit lost out there. He's had a few flashy dunks that look super cool, and he had a nice corner 3 in the beginning of the game yesterday. But I'm definitely hoping to see more from John Collins as this preseason progresses and we get into this regular season, because obviously he was a big pickup for the Jazz, and we're expecting to see big things out of him. He's on a contract year, and this is supposed to be his rejuvenating season. So I really hope we see that from him.
I'll tell you the one thing that did stand out to me: 41% for shooting overall for the team so far in these 2 games,
which is terrible.
And then 29% 3-point shooting.
That doesn't really surprise me though. Just because in the second half of some of these games, you have the back end of the bench coming out shooting those threes.
That's very true.
You know what I mean? So if you cut that into our starting, some of our starting roster, or the front end of the Jazz roster, the shooting percentages are going to come up. I think they're definitely trying to find out which players can play well together and create enough space for each other to be effective on the floor. THT looked really good in that second game. The second half of the game, he came out and scores 22 points, but we need him to stay consistent as a contributor for him to, to earn some of those minutes and A, earn the starting role, or, even B, just earn significant minutes off the bench. This is a contract year for THT as well.
Yeah,
so
we both had him in our starting rotation, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
As our starting point guard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, there's some things to take away from it. There's also some things to just be like, okay, pump the brakes a little bit. This is preseason. It's only 2 games in. We'll see where the Jazz are. Come towards the end of preseason, we'll really see some of those things that may have been concerned start to dial up a little bit more.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's go ahead and talk about what we actually talked about last week. We actually put a couple of videos on this. You and I are pretty strong on this stance here, that you and I both agree that the Utah Jazz are going to be making the playoffs this year. Now, I know their preseason play so far has got some people in the comments thinking these guys don't know what they're talking about.
Yes, that is correct. And we appreciate it. Make sure you keep leaving comments because we love to communicate with you guys.
Yeah, so. Absolutely, man. The interaction in the comments is a lot of fun for us. We love to chat with you guys. We love to exchange stats, opinions, and all that stuff. So definitely keep that up. Let us know in the comments down below if the preseason is giving you any indication on where this Jazz team is going to be going forward. But we're going to go ahead and circle back to that statement here that you and I both think that the Utah Jazz are making the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
We've made the argument that we think there are 5 teams that the Utah Jazz are going to finish better than. We'll go ahead and check a previous video to see that. We also explained how this team didn't get any better, just got worse didn't get any worse, got better by adding with the Collins trade and stuff like that. So people are saying there's not a depth point guard. We showed them how we have a plethora of people who could fill that role.
Correct.
But here is where I'm thinking of. So I want to go to the team themselves and where they're standing at right now. So I think the Utah Jazz are starting to show their hand a little bit on whether or not they think they're ready to compete.
Okay.
And I think the Jazz are ready to compete right now. The Jazz think they are ready to compete starting this year. That they are no longer, they're good enough to be good. They no longer have to suck, basically, is their mindset. And the reason why that is, and this was reported by The Athletic on the Athletic Basketball Podcast, that the Utah Jazz made several calls to try to acquire Drew Holiday.
Really?
Yes. So, and it's been quite clear that the Blazers made it quite clear that they were trading him to a team that was going to be able to contend. So the Utah Jazz wouldn't have traded for him if they didn't think they could possibly contend or they didn't think that they were ready to compete. Yeah. So the fact that the Jazz made several calls to try to acquire Drew Holiday, the best two-way point guard in the league right now, definitely speaks to where the Jazz think that they are right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
They also went on in the podcast to talk about how the Jazz made several calls to try and bring in Kyrie Irving before the trade to Dallas.
Well, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Well, everybody tried to avoid him like the plague, and no team wanted him. Before the Dallas trade, the Utah Jazz made some calls to try to acquire Kyrie. They may think that this is not a team that's trying to tank for Victor Wembanyama, apparently.
Yeah.
This was not a team that was ready to just roll over and try and get some draft picks. I think they have plenty of picks now. They're ready to move some of them. And I think with this information from The Athletic that the Jazz have tried to make these trades, more like, especially with the Drew Holiday information, that this team is looking to compete, and they're looking to compete this season.
Yeah. And I think the Jazz absolutely have enough talent on this roster. It's just fitting the puzzle together and seeing how it works to get players to work on the floor together, and putting the right code of players into position is what they need to figure out. It's not that the Jazz are lacking any talent, because that's not the case. Mm-hmm. They're talented, they're deep, and I mean, yeah, I stick by it. I just think the Jazz make the playoffs this year, man.
Yeah, I definitely think the Jazz are making the playoffs, and I definitely think the Jazz think that they're good enough to make the playoffs because their actions speak that. I also do think that if there's anybody that's a talented guard that's going to be able to be moved at the deadline, the Jazz may make a play for him by the end of the season. So.
And the Jazz have plenty of assets. I mean, they've got young talent, top draft picks, and they've got plenty of future draft picks as well. So, I mean, it's a great point. The Jazz are ready to make some moves to continue to make this team even better and compete deep into the postseason.
Absolutely. We want to know what you think, folks. Let us know in the comments down below. Did this news of the Jazz trying to acquire Drew Holiday move the needle for you at all? Thinking where Utah is sitting right now and their willingness to compete. Let us know in the comments down below. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Also, keep in mind, folks, we are doing that giveaway. We are on the grind to 1,000 subscribers, currently sitting at 405 or 406 at the time of recording. Yep. So greatly appreciate that, guys. Just another 600 more to go. And we will be giving away $100 to 5 separate subscribers that we will pick at random once this channel is monetized. So make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and stay tuned for more information in regards to that.
Absolutely.
My name is Darren. That is AJ. And this has been the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.